I have never seen that in my life, but I would like to go there here in Shanghai. It's cheers to Bilibili Gaming after game number 1, where they crumbled. Well, rather, they made Vici Gaming crumble. Welcome back to the LPL. My name's Sheikh Hysterics. I was Bengo, joined by Berento Raz Muhammad. And game 1 gave us a nice little showcase of how BLG can play it cool, play it slow, and then just ended it in an instant.
Ramped it up, went towards Baron, and suddenly it turned into that trap around red side jungle. So you gotta love Kuro, how smart he is playing out supports. Every support walking in is like, I know my life's on the line.
You said Kuro's smart, but there was a moment there where I thought, okay, Kuro, what are you doing? There's a simple turret dive in the top lane, which I don't even know if we can call it a dive.
You have those moments, okay?
Yeah,
there were a lot of moments on the map. It felt like the team fights that we've got to see to begin with were looking good. Then there was this, where Ryze clears the wave. Guess what? It's bounced on you as well. Full rotation, you're damaged. Kuro died. And you're like, okay, that's sad. Jay's got a great lead, right? Unfortunately, Jay pushes up. Corrupting potions proc.
Almost the same thing.
Same thing happens.
Yeah.
So for Vici Gaming, it's just sad that the mistakes that, or at least plays that Jay makes, he gives it away as just as quickly.
It's very interesting as well, because while we are on the topic of the mid laners,
what's up?
Jay and Kuro, never did I think this would kind of be the head-to-head, considering that Jay has been playing more carries, yes.
Yeah.
But Kuro's champion pool has changed quite a lot, and maybe this is not what we know him for today.
Yeah, I think right now he's trying to, especially gearing into the playoffs, it seems like they're in a great position to do that. You know, where he has that flexibility. He's not going to go out for a Ryze pick, Aurelion Sol in the back pocket. It needs to be a back pocket pick for, like, let's say, if you're going the distance.
For a long time. Oh,
and then the LeBlanc. That was a good game, all right? You relax. But the LeBlanc game just here showcases what he can do in Assassin Pick. The vision control is so good for this squad. Right now, they're second in the league in terms of control wards placed. And if that's going to be the case, then suddenly that is great for an Assassin Pick.
Oh, yeah.
That's wonderful if you can place that greatly towards the side of the map that you're playing. Sometimes I didn't agree with the side of the map they were playing in that game, where LeBlanc was topside when it felt like they could have just moved that bottom lane for the Dragon there. But when they make the choice, they're all in on that. And I think that it was great to see Meteor, right, the jungler in this one, have so much direction. So I liked what he was able to do in that game.
From the start of vertical jungling to, rotating around, getting double scuttle early on. Meteor had control from point 1 to the last point of that game as well.
Yes, he did.
Ike's didn't even get to play that game.
And that makes sense that our man of the match for this one would be Meteor.
Of course.
He had an excellent game there, so just give it off to him. It felt like he had the most direction I've seen throughout the entire split. There are times where there are question marks on how he's able to play. This one, he rallied the troops.
Jarvan feels like it's a much more comfortable pick on him as well. We've seen, on that note, Camille games that are just not great for Meteor, but Jarvan's something I could rally behind with Meteor.
Yeah, and remember, he's a rookie this split. And so people give him a lot of, harsh criticism, just like when Jackie came in last split. And of course, for him, he had a different set of expectations there. So that's fair in that regard. For Meteor, come in, coupled with Kuro, so there's a lot of pressure there from the audience. Restructured BLG, you're thinking, spitballing a lot of names for who they could have as the jungle pick, and not a lot of people knew who Meteor was.
I'm sure he's used to the pressure, though, because, I mean, he's the 5th best table tennis player in China, apparently.
Oh, my goodness.
This is what Clement said the other night. I didn't get that far, but I knew he was good at table tennis.
And maybe that skill is starting to turn to League of Legends, because in the previous game, it worked out real well for him.
Yeah, it really did. That's Meteor in the jungle was your MVP for the first game. Onto the second game, it was leaving me wanting, because in the bottom lane I thought, can't wait to see Puff and Southwind again. You know what? Jinjiao, and if you look at Jinjiao, you're like, oh, he had a good game. He wasn't that quiet. But Puff and Southwind
were certainly quiet. And I think it was mostly because they were getting pressured in their jungle, so they couldn't really do much in the laning phase. I love the Varus pickup if you're trying to go for an early play in bot side. Remember, you have Varus and Alistar. What does that say? Heavy engage. The Lee Sin could just look for a bottom lane gank, but of course that's why I've been blaming Ike's in the early portions of the game. He's not been able to get the lane ganks that, in this case, I thought was a lot easier. But then on top of that, he's going mano-a-mano with an Ezreal and with a Tahm Kench. So even though Southwind is such an exceptional engage type of player, can go on towards Alistar with the greatest of ease, but then when he goes up against Tahm Kench, who do you engage on? There's going to be a real blowback if it doesn't turn out well, because Tahm Kench's damage in longer trades is so high. So I felt like going into this game, I wouldn't be surprised if the Tahm Kench just get banned here.
And if it's not the Tahm Kench, then, you know, do we see the Alistar again? Southwind started out this split on some of the more eager supports, such as the Rakan, which more or less still has the same engage potential, but felt like it fit his playstyle a lot more.
All of those would fail up against the Tahm Kench, or would fail if you don't have the jungle interaction there. So that's why for Suning, a lot of people when they think Suning, it's failure currently.
Yep.
But it's actually like a successful strategy in the bottom lane where they get able to get so many early game leads based off of focus pressure topside, leaving bottom lane on an island, and almost nothing going wrong bottom lane.
Yeah.
There have been teams that like OMG in that series, they tried everything they could to throw a kitchen sink, just about everything bottom lane. And then guess who would get out of there when scot-free without using many summoners?
Oh, yeah.
They were doing so well with an Ezreal Tahm Kench bot side where it felt like, okay, like how do you actually open that up? I think Alistar is great for Southwind. What he just needs is either to be able to call in his jungler to get the kick when she has a level 6 ultimate ready on the Lee Sin, or just take the pick away if you want to make it 2v2.
I'd like to see the Ezreal go back over to Puff. I mean, Ezreal Tahm Kench in the LPL has just been really, really stock standard. And if SMLZ and Sword Art look great on it, well, it doesn't mean that people like Puff and Southwind, who are a lot fresher to the league, wouldn't as well. But would it suit someone like Southwind?
I mean, the Tahm Kench on Southwind, I think he's had some great Tahm Kench games. I think he's been the type of Tahm Kench, unsurprisingly, that will use it offensively, his ultimate offensively, to get into a fight.
Yep.
Or to be able to make it to a play much faster. Sometimes when we see Red's, Northern Quadrant jungle fights happen, you see a lot of supports roaming, making the distance from the bottom lane. Southwind's that kind of guy. In fact, he did this game. Unfortunately, ADD got up out of there.
Yeah. That was so
they hightailed it.
Well, I want to see a little bit of a change in the bottom lane, but I also want to see Vici keep to their namesake, Raz.
Yep.
It's game 2. I don't know what that is for Vici Gaming, because that doesn't exist. We need to go the distance, and game 3, it's going to happen.
You're that confident?
No.
I love being able to challenge your confidence sometimes because, like, statistically, you should be you should be definitely confident about this point, about Vici Gaming going the distance.
Yeah.
But it seems like records have been breaking globally. Rush hasn't been getting his 1-in-1 splits.
Yeah.
And look, this time around, you're like, wait a minute, I don't know if Vici can hold that 3-game series here.
Well, after game number 1, it just looks so convincing from BLG. And BLG, what team do you relate them to the most in the LPL, Raz? I'm asking you as a general question.
BLG relate to the LPL? I mean, they're in the LPL.
Yeah, no, but what other team?
All right.
I know they're at the LPL. That's where we
I
are.
was putting that out there. I would say they would be closely related to RNG in the fact that they are pretty heavy team fighters. Bing has great vision control out there, and team fighting 80 carry. There we go.
Do you know what other team Vici Gaming couldn't take it to game 3?
Who?
RNG. The only team.
Oh, no.
They have not gone the distance.
That's fair.
Although we have stats, I have quick maths again. Let's go to game 2. Oh.
Guess who Vici Gaming doesn't want to deal with?
Is it
It's the Jace.
Jace?
Yeah, it's the Jace.
Sandra's
ADD
a
was
must.
just so strong in that.
Also not surprised that we see the LeBlanc ban, but for some reason by BLG after Kuro had a very successful game. Of course, BLG being on the red side this time. Don't want to hand that first pick over to Vici Gaming.
A lot of this has been around the mid lane ban. So if you're already looking towards Zoe, LeBlanc, Cassiopeia, and Lissandra, you got to wonder what Kuro and Jay are going to be going towards. Now, Kuro is wonderful on red side, so the fact that he's now able to just go deep into his champion pool. Now, look, Akali on 9.2 is wonderful. I expect that to be ADD's pick. So we're going to have to see how they end up using that because Kuro still wants to be able to go on second phase and get his mid lane pick.
Really annoying for an Urgot as well going into the Akali, so we'll see if that goes down to Jay rather than Chelizi playing a second game of Urgot. BLG have set themselves up for the first Akali game in a long time here in the LPL. It's either banned away or just gets mixed around. But Mini is just going to play Tahm Kench for a second game in a row.
I wonder if the Lucian or if the Ezreal is going to come through. Remember, Jay's a great Lucian player, but they still want to be able to pick up Ezreal so they can take away the Ezreal Tahm Kench that they had to deal with last game.
Yeah. Remember that Puff can also play the Lucian here, which has been a first pick priority of many teams. Interesting to go back to Vici Gaming and how they always prioritize the Urgot. They've now added Galio, which more than likely is a Galio support.
And Galio's been great versus Tahm Kench, Alistar. He's just, the taunt can go through so much. And so if you're trying to channel the taunt, wait a little bit longer for the Tahm Kench to be holding on to whoever's in his belly. You can follow through. So I like this option and immediately coupling it with the Jarvan.
Oh yeah, if you don't want to play the Camille, do the Jarvan. It's pretty much the same. We're all in, baby. BLG, while they see Vici going, we're going to actually just fight you. BLG decide, we're not going to fight. We're going to play safe again.
I think there's still a huge threat to Jinjiao and Mini here with a Jarvan pick. Cataclysm can do so much to just nail down Jinjiao and force him to fight. So either that or he has to flash. There should be a lot of bot lane pressure here. Knowing that Vici Gaming are going to have a difficulty in being able to get on top of Akali, then they should immediately segue that to either mid lane pressure or bot side.
You'd expect that after the Ezreal and Tahm Kench have been played 2 games in a row, that this time Ike's is going to say, all right, let's actually visit that bottom lane. Different pick for him as well. This is what he got clubbed with in game 1.
The Urgot is still a flex here. That Jay had a wonderful game on that Urgot in their last series versus LGD. So in blue side, being able to flex here, Long has been wonderful at being able to give Vici Gaming flexibility on blue side.
Yep. By taking away the sign as well, it means you have a pretty straight and narrow way to go. Take away another front line for BLG. They don't have one just yet. With BLG just like, no, we're not going to give Puff another Varus game.
I mean,
fair enough.
It's just so odd that 9.2, we haven't seen a Lucian pick in this game.
Yeah.
That it's still up and available, and it's pretty damn good into the Tahm Kench Ezreal. We should be expecting here a Lucian and Galio, but seems like that's not going to be the case.
Surely Vici Gaming say, you know what, let's just take it. It's just such a good pick. This is kind of the difference here between Vici and BLG, and maybe the match last night where we saw IG and FPX, there was a larger priority on either banning that away or...
Well, Kalista is equally good into the matchup, if not better, versus the Tahm Kench. You can hold on to your Ren just in case you know Tahm Kench is in the fight for a lot longer. Remember, for him to have his shield, if he's ever in a tough position, you still have Ren stacks just coupling up until it really you know, disintegrates. So if you have a longer 2v2, Puff can really get out a lot from being this Kalista.
And you can keep up with the Ezreal so much easier too. So Arcane Shift Away doesn't really do too much in that matchup. Vici want to get more of that global pressure. And they add a Ryze to finish off the composition.
It's a lot of fighting.
That is a lot of fighting.
Engaged from Jarvan, Galio. Technically Galio again if we're looking towards the Kalista ultimate.
Yep.
And Ryze with his ultimate himself, just so Realm Warp bottom lane has a lot of you know, red flags here. BLG's got to be able to protect it, so Nocturne being locked in, so the ultimate giving them that mask. Please lock it in.
Oh, an ADD speciality. Yes. He knows what's going up into the top lane now. Or does he? I mean, that's still the question. He pulls up the Kled, and Kuro's going to be going on Akali.
This is going to be sick for Kuro. 2 assassin games in a row where Akali, we're going to be, hopefully, I wonder how long we're going to be on 9.2, be able to see him get the Akali pick. Just that last pick before he, you know, says farewell to it altogether.
Then we change up the meta completely, 9.4 later in the week, hopefully. But the Kled, I wanted to see a lot more out of, you know, the bottom lane this game, Raz. And I think for Puff and Southwind, I got a bit more of that. The Kalista definitely is a bit of a good transaction for me for Vici Gaming.
What are you worried about?
I don't know.
So you're saying you got exactly what you wanted?
I got what I wanted.
Okay,
and now, why am I still empty, Raz?
I mean, there's an Ezreal Tahm Kench, so that's always the sad
face.
You know, extra bit of protection. But I feel like I still get that payoff because I have an Akali and Kled on my screen. So if I'm looking at this game, going into a game 2, I see some great action with the Akali, Kled, and just think about the composition BLG wants to employ.
Yeah.
Nocturne ultimate, straight through bottom lane, coupled with the Kled. If you know, we see ADD roaming quite frequently on
That's
the
the thing, you won't see him. You literally won't see him. That's the combo.
Yeah. And he's going to be running you down. The one thing you will get to hear is Kled's ultimate, just as he screams, charge.
You hear 2 screams. You hear paranoia. You then hear the massive charge coming at you. You don't know where to go.
So if they get the push on bot lane, top lane, that is, if Chelizi has to deal with an early gank or if he's trying to freeze underneath his tower, just anything that gives Kled the excuse to go through mid or go through bot, ADD will be able to take that. And it's a great composition that you can just run down if they have priority in some of these lanes. This is a big if. BLG needs to fight for it. Fight for priority bot, mid, and top. Well, you have a jungler that wants to be able to get to level 6. If all of those come in the favor of BLG, their composition is so nice.
Yeah, but it's an if at this point as we jump into game 2. It is an if BLG can silence Vici Gaming from their 3-game streaks. Let's find out. All right. Is that an SKT?
Yeah, they're coming back.
Oh, man,
SKT fans finally have something to fight for.
They noticed it was an off day.
That's what happens around the world when both SKT and TSM are back.
Yeah.
The fans start to come.
Even in China. Oh, yeah. Let's start off early. I wanted to see a Kled, but unfortunately, that's not what I wanted to see of a Kled.
It's usually pretty rough for a Kled here early on just because Chelizi can trade back consistent damage from his W.
Yeah.
Starting on his Raptor camp here.
The Umbra Blades using that to his advantage.
I like that he went right back into his bush because, of course, remember his Q can show where he is on the map. He doesn't want to give that information out, so I think it might turn into a full topside clear. We'll have to see what Nocturne has in mind because, remember, 9.2, the experience kill on a lot of the junglers puts you far behind. If you're a level 6 jungler, then you lose quite a bit. So the fact that Nocturne is going to go for a full clear topside, base, look for full clear bot, I think that's his best option.
Could be pretty soon that we see Ike's actually make an appearance into that jungle as ADD almost gets demounted this early on. This is pretty good from Ike. He's gone for the topside scuttle, meaning that there's no vision here from Metoer, and he's up here. So we'll see how aggressive Ike's get early on as he's probably going to hit level 3. Or at least get close to.
I don't think ADD should be too concerned because Meteor is going to be on that side of the map. And on top of that, he's going to be underneath his tower. So he'll be fine even if he gets demounted. Unless if Jarvan wants to find a top lane dive with Ryze this early on. Some teams have done that, really committed to the play. But since there's so little damage on the map, even if he's demounted, he has a pretty good opportunity of just remounting in the skirmish.
I mean, the only annoying thing is that demounted Skull has like 290 movement speed.
Yeah.
So it's the slowest thing you'll ever see.
Feels bad.
I think he's okay for now. Still has Skull up and available. Has actually regen some of that as well. Curious as to what ADD did. Didn't see if it was Inspiration second. Well, actually, wow. I didn't even call for that. Thank you very much to the China side.
Got what you wanted.
So it is actually going to be a Resolve tree on the second. It's surprising since Inspiration has just been so popular.
A second win. I mean, if he's going to be getting this much harassed, it's much better for him to be able to deal with that if he's trading right back. Going into, I think it's called Demolition.
Demolish, yeah.
Demolish. My God, I always get it wrong.
Hang on. Are Vici still in blue buff?
Yes, they are, man.
No way.
They have never done this in their life. That's sarcasm, my friends.
Meteor is here. Mini's coming up as well. There's going to be a full 3-on-3 though, Raz. Southwind doesn't need to commit to the flash, but there's a cleanse already there. Mini might go down here with the Ren stacks already in. It does happen. Vici Gaming find the support, and BLG want to fight back, but Meteor, I'm not sure that was the right move. He has the flash. He takes a spear to the face, and even Jay comes down to fight.
So that was expected by everyone in the room. We already ironed it out that Mini was going to be there first, that he's been pretty strong and roaming to the play. It was only unfortunate that he was roaming on top of Puff, where Puff being able to quickly stack up his Ren made him a target.
First blood over to a Kalista is exactly what you want if you're a Vici Gaming fan. It's 500 gold in the back pocket. You have bottom side priority. And Puff comes back to lane with Berserker Greaves. He's going to be hopping and hopping. Remember, there's an Infernal Drake first, so to have a bottom lane lead this early on, Vici would be cheering.
Feels great. Remember him going back and coming into the lane with, I guess, the attack speed boots.
Yep.
Really nice. Remember, he already has the attack speed from Halo Blades, and here we go.
From Jay. Can't get the kill pressure, though, as the orb did expire onto Kuro. Remember, 9.2 Akali, so has to sustain to get back to full health.
That's a little sad if you're Jay here.
Oh, yeah.
You committed a lot. You didn't even have the mana, even if Meteor wasn't here. So he's going to base. He has teleport. That's fine. But Kuro has now the opportunity of pushing and basing himself.
Shoving out that wave, there's a lot of deniability, but in the bottom lane, that's a flash forward. Jinjiao has to use one himself. The flash forward here from Puff wants to commit, has the Ren perfectly timed. Raz, I wanted to see the bottom lane, and I'm doing it.
Yeah, you got it. I mean, Puff and Southwind are going wild here. Flashing in, I didn't think Southwind had, execute on Jinjiao, but that Puff would be able to follow there.
Yeah.
Of course, he's going to be able to, blink out, flash out, still in range. Mini didn't even get a chance to respond.
I mean, this is super rough. Jinjiao has had to opt in for a Sheen as his back, which is still good, but no tier. We'll look again.
So that's why he didn't have it on cooldown. I was wondering why Mini didn't even respond to begin with, but it was on cooldown, really long one, 10 seconds, and so they can just re-engage on top.
Really well executed from Vici Gaming, their bottom lane. It's been the talk of the town for a while, and I'm glad after game one, we actually get to see it successful once more. They'll pick up this big wave, they'll be at an equal standing. Puff still hasn't backed after picking up a bounty on his head and that other kill. So there's a very real chance that we see an early... I mean, what are we building first on Kalista? We still going Rage Blade?
Yeah, Blade of the Ruined King.
Or Blade of the Ruined King, rather, yeah.
You can do that. What I want to see here from Vici Gaming is just the fact that they've had two good-looking waves here. Mid lane wave for Jay was nice, so he has a little bit of control here. Can even contest for this control ward. Same deal for Puff and Southwind, where they're getting a slow push involved here. Nice that Jinjiao is able to reset it, but you just don't want to see Puff and Southwind, who already have the lane advantage there, starting to dictate where the wave's going to be placed.
Yeah, they have to stick to the wave right now as well, as BLG move up to the river. Clearing out the vision as well as the Scuttle Crab here too. BLG trying to get back some of that bottom side priority. And again, Infernal Drake is just so crucial to both these teams. It's good that Metoer can actually push back out and get some of that priority.
Well, he has ultimate now. He's 2 levels ahead of Ice. So he's just been having a full clear on his own jungle. Him being bot side while having his ultimate activated, he's going to be looking for an ulti on top of, 2 flashless bottom lane.
That's true. And Puff does not have a level 6 nor to Southwind. Here comes the Paranoia all the way in. We're going to see Metoer with the spell shield. Saves the shield of Duran, but Puff might die here. Finally gets level 6. Uses it to conclave into the BLG's team. Teleport coming in as well. Jay coming in with Realm Warp. It's just the meter, but it might be enough. Jinjiao is locked down, eaten up by Mini. Shield of Durand again, but cleansed away. BLG want to re-engage this.
Kuro's
as
here.
Southwind is getting knocked on down. Where are the flashes to come out? Kuro jumps on in. Ignite down. Southwind's down too.
They even gave Kuro the kill. He made the distance towards the bottom side of the map. Now the assassin gets the kill. He needs to be able to get to his gunblade. So nicely done for BLG as a whole. Vici Gaming had a way out, but they looked to re-engage because Jay was coming through, so I think they should have just taken that L. I mean, they already did a great job of pushing Metoer back when he used his ultimate.
Yep. Super long back and forth. But Metoer using that ultimate very successfully.
Debatably.
To a degree.
Like, it's one of those...
I mean, it started the play.
Look, it's the same as last game, where it's like the start of it was poor. He didn't have the CC as well, so Puff and Southwind were going to be able to get out without Flash. So, like, that's something you're like, great. Puff and Southwind did a great thing of being able to deal with Meteor's ultimate. The only unfortunate part was they committed to the play.
But if it works, if the play works, then you say, great ult.
No.
That's how you be a good teammate.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Oh, me the teammate, sure.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not a teammate, am I?
Oh, you're not? Wouldn't want to play solo queue with you then.
All right.
Hang on, Ike's, that's burning down. No. Ike's.
Okay, we're good.
Very close. Very well executed. Now, that was a good play, if you can even call it that.
You need a highlight reel of that one.
Yeah, we did. After the 1 HP blue buff goes over to Ryze, Jay should be absolutely fine here, able to push the wave out. While the roam came down from Kuro, Jay was just getting out of the bottom lane as the Realm Warp play went kind of the other end. But he's back to lane now and he's farming up and he's pretty even to a regard, but behind a couple of CS of the Akali.
And the Akali placed the control ward smack down in the mid lane. Just we see the line of control wards that BLG has.
Again, yeah.
From top side straight through mid. Gives Kled a few openings here if he wants to look for a play.
Also makes this so much more dangerous for Vici Gaming as their priority is limited.
Looking for a play. He's already roaming down to the side of the map.
Come down. Paranoia is on. Again, the spell shield. Is it timed enough? No, it's not. Puff needs one more auto to go down. Jinjiao goes away, and Puff is already out of the play. The ultimate was interrupted there from Southwind too. He's going to go down to Jinjiao. And again, played well by BLG. The charge is in. Jay has to flash over the wall. ADD just follows him. Look at where he is. Still taking on the Ryze. 1v2, and they can't even take Kled down.
At least Scarl is still healthy and on top of him. And they did all of this, and even though they didn't get any more kills other than Southwind, they're still in prime position to pick up the Infernal Dragon.
That bottom lane has just been giving and giving for Infernal Drakes, both yesterday and today. We're going to be giving and giving towards ADD's Kled. With the stopwatch burnt down there from ADD, he'll just walk away. Ike's looks to re-engage, but maybe just get them out of his jungle. And that's an Infernal over to BLG. Look at the next one. Okay, no. Count my chickens before they hatch.
All right. You remember, rolling the dice, no guarantees. But still a lot of great job. Good work from BLG. I think in terms of execution, the fact that Puff didn't die there, it was mostly just Jinjiao missing out his Qs. It's unfortunate to see that happen, but still, getting the 1 kill, getting the Infernal, it's a good start for BLG.
I really like the transition from BLG. They saw their bottom lane was under threat after Puff and Southwind took the 2v2, and the 2 early kills on Puff, they're kind of uninfluential at this point in time. Jinjiao picks up the tier now. He's starting to stack. He can deal with Puff. He's got the range advantage.
It depends. You're right. You said rain advantage, but the fact that he has the Bilgewater Cutlass in his inventory, if Puff has ever been able to hold the wave closer to his turret, then he can look for a play on top of Jinjiao. It's just at the stage of the game where that's not the play, where you do need to start threatening tower, turret plating, and go further than that, open up the map a little bit more.
Got 2 minutes 30 to keep on threatening it. The bottom lane has been continuously pushed up since Puff picked up those kills, and still isn't able to pick up the Blade of the Ruined King, which could be the massive difference here, as Jinjiao has now found himself with an Iceborne Gauntlet. So Ezreal again, a very safe lane as we've been shown. That's a pure moment from Jay that doesn't connect.
As long as Vici Gaming can start opening up the map, they have a great 1-3-1 in their composition. Urgot and Ryze. They can also just kind of utilize the Ryze split push, and of course his own ultimate is Realm Warp to get on top of the play and have numbers advantage. As long as they open up the map, they can make Puff's ultimate a lot more usable. Mini, as good he's been playing early on in this game, it's going to be a lot harder for him to hold out in these team fights since he's going to be the primary target. So that's something that I'm going to be watching out for in terms of Vici Gaming strategy. Their strategy, we've seen this from multiple teams, but you need to be a lot smarter and slower paced team to open up the map and allow your composition to come through.
Look, if BLG keep to his, the laning phases at the moment as well, looks like a tempo-based team here in Game 2, especially with Akali, Nocturne, and the Kled. It's going to be a lot easier to force the plays with Vici Gaming. Right now, there's nothing to open up the map for them.
From what I've said from Vici Gaming's composition, I think their Vici Gaming's comp's harder to play.
Okay.
He flashed. That's why he doesn't have flash.
All right.
He flashed in place. This is great execution. But back to my point, I think Vici Gaming's comp's harder to play because based off how Puff should be able to start the fights. BLG's comp should be easier because Kled, Akali, Nocturne is basically setting up the play, going bot side and just pressing ultimate. So in terms of just diving straight on to Puff, that's what we saw in the previous play. And even though it didn't turn out as well as it could have, I thought that it could easily have been 2 to 3 more kills for BLG. So it just depends on if ADD is able to roam a little bit more frequently. I like BLG's control wards through topside, so it allowed him to then look for mid lane fights. We'll have to see if that's something they continue to do.
Ultimate backup and available for ADD too, but that is very unfortunate about the flash, because as a Kled, you want to go in further.
Yeah.
What does flash do? Get you in. And ADD, no one saw that though.
No, we all saw it.
No, well, Vici didn't see it.
That's fair.
And that's all that matters. Turret plating, as you can see there, is falling down too. And not much actually picked up. A bit more of I guess, a stable laning phase, which, is good for both teams because we wanted to see better laning phases, and I guess this is what you call it, as Rift Herald gets started up.
Remember, 3 stopwatches here from Vici Gaming. 4, actually, so they want to be able to pick up this fight.
Difference is, though, there is a double smite here as charges coming in. They're in a choke here as Vici Gaming need to find the fight immediately. Started up, but Kuro just runs through. It just is so easy here for BLG. With the Hero's Entrance back from Southwind, Rift Herald gets picked up by Meteor. What a sneaky steal from the jungler of BLG, and they even get a kill on top.
That's insane. Because even with the 2 stopwatches used to negate the ultimate Jinjiao had, it was hard to push them off him. So, I don't know, man. You got the Rift Herald, and you're even going to be able to pick up mid lane tower, or at least a good chunk of HP.
Potentially, Southwind wants to turn the fight. There's no mounted skull. ADD's been eaten up, gobbled out. Ignite down. Kuro is stuck in with spears. There's a Ren to slow him down. Puff still chasing up, gets the slow. Flashes onto Kuro. Puff and Southwind, the bottom lane of Vici, still onto Mini, and they can't go further. Mini just keeps getting poked out, and you have to say, Puff is looking great on Kalista.
So bloodthirsty, too. He knew he had to kill on Kuro. Got the slow, and even with Mini slowing him down, wasn't perturbed. So he doesn't have flash. That's the only thing you can ding him for. I think he needed to use flash to get the kill, and now if he's looking to the play, you know, the future plays, he's gonna see a few people running him down in the future. So that's why he needs to keep himself as safe as possible. He is so far ahead at the moment, but right now Meteor and ADD has been gunning for him.
Yeah, it's also peace of mind that Southwind is beside him a lot of the time too.
Yep.
You've seen that last fight, it was more about Southwind getting caught out, but rather saving the rest of the fight by ulting into the back line of Puff, making sure there was absolutely no follow-up.
That's why we should be seeing a lot more defensive Galio ultis. Ever since the you know, invisible resistances that Galio gives his teammates has been nerfed away, we've been seeing more, I guess, incentives to use Galio ulti offensively, to be able to pick a fight. If you have a Nocturne on your team, not this game, if you have like a Jarvan on your team, this is the game, you can go with Jarvan with you.
Yeah.
Then you can set up for a play, but I think based off of what BLG is starting to throw at Vici game, you need to keep Puff alive. Your backline is so strong, and there are so many dive threats that you want to be able to allow him to kite away from. So expect Southwind to be taunting defensively to give Puff more time to, you know, free fire, and to press ultimate if anyone gets on top of him.
This will help him quite a lot though. This is a Cloud Drake. Puff's going to be skedaddling all over the place. I love the double rend, or double smite. With a double Cloud actually coming up for Vici Gaming. It's no Infernal. Oh, hang on.
Here we go.
We're going to see the Fates call mid again. Mini the target here, but they've also found Jinjiao. Do they turn their focus? Not just yet. Jinjiao getting poked on down. Rend available. They're onto Puff. Might have been caught out. Too far forward. The 80 carry drops for a big bounty to ADD as he gets demounted and eaten up. Mini saves the day again, but the Dragon Flag back on in. Mini underneath the Cataclysm. It's a big fight for Vici Gaming, but they're getting cornered as Kuro now joins in as well. It's an absolute collapse. An absolute wash. Chelizi gets targeted in. Watch as the Akali waits, but doesn't go anywhere near those shotgun knees. Big one here for BLG.
Bro, some low HP targets. The reason why Ike's thought he could double down on the play, even without Puff. But you could see how much they rely on him. No Puff in the fight, and there was no execution. Chelizi didn't even, you know, get an execution based off of his ultimate, which is probably the main reasons they had to back away there.
Really rough as well, because you knew that Jinjiao Mini were going down if BLG couldn't respond to that dive.
So disheartening there. You saw what Puff did to be able to get the kill down, and Kuro used his own flash, and that's the payoff there for BLG. They can respond with these plays. And having the TP getting right behind him too. There's no escape there for Puff, so Puff needs to keep better, you know, care for himself.
Yep. We'll see how Puff felt very ambitious with this play, but rightly so.
So they thought they can get an insta-kill on towards Mini, even using his E super early on, just because they thought they had him CC locked. That wasn't the case.
Yep.
He instantly dies because of the reaction BLG had. And then look at Ike's doubling down here. You still have Jay, so you're like, we have the damage here. If you just look towards how Chelizi is playing this fight out, he realizes that Kuro's behind him, and then he has to play out immediately and that he's in the wrong position. That is all because of the control ward that's placed on the left side of the screen. They had no vision, no eyes on where Kuro was. He had already pushed out the top lane when he was making his way.
It's also really key to the fact that BLG, with their priority around vision, a lot of intelligent plays with these fights, and a team that's just come together for this split. You see they're getting smarter with their plays as well. That's the difference. You have vision, you can play around some of that information, but the coordination isn't always there. Some of the coordination definitely in this series being shown how, you know, players like Meteor definitely getting better with working with Kuro and ADD with the Korean imports.
That's the thing. If you're a, well, as we see, all in.
Paranoia again. This is under Puff once more. Is Fate's Call available? It's used to get Southwind in, but is he going to sacrifice his life? Kuro seems to think so as he edges ever so close. BLG, an ultimate for an ultimate.
Meteor still keeps his Guardian Angels, thankfully. I mean, he put a lot in to get the kill.
Yep.
Didn't happen. Here we go.
Oh,
Kuro.
this 1v1 very possible. Kuro in the smoke shroud. Jay hovering around.
Oh,
he hits him. Now Kuro, as he escapes with perfect execution, knows not to mess with the Ryze again.
He was thinking about it. He had his gun blade. He's like, should I be able to take this fight? But then blind. Jay gets the hit off his Q. Unfortunate. But BLG, man, I mean, it's looking better and better, but Puff being able to just escape it. Remember, he didn't have flash at the moment.
Yep.
Only got it back up now. It was great to be able to see him use his ultimate. Southwind charging up his taunt. He got hit by Jinjiao's ultimate. It was the reason why he got chipped down by so much in his HP, but keeps alive, and that's key.
There's a big difference down at the bottom lane. That's, well, used to be, rather. Actually surprised. It's only, it's dead even. How is it dead even? Objectives from BLG across the map, making the difference there in the bottom lane. So Jinjiao just as relevant as Ezreal at 20 minutes in the game last game.
Yeah, lane assignment's been good. Also, Nocturne, it's been great for Meteor once again.
That is true.
We have another repeat performance from Meteor where he's able to come in a lot more consistent, to the point that you were making. I think that I always feel like a great jungler is made if he has coordination with his liners. This time around, ADD.
See, Chelizi is actually waiting for ADD to go into Skull form, or Kled form. Fear Beyond Death is available. ADD playing this very close. I'd be scared if I were you. But Chelizi doesn't make the dive happen. Meteor's coming down. Spooky Ghost.
Could be calling for it. Massive pings here. Here comes
Paranoia. He dives head first. Scuba dives into Chelizi. The Abyssal Voyage in as well. They just want the top laner of Vici Gaming and they get him. BLG. What is this going to cost you? Because look at where the pings say to go. Let's do it.
I wonder if Vici Gaming want to fully commit to it. They have a Ryze. They can bullet through it, but they would have to commit to the fight.
That was very quick.
Because BLG, they're here and they're going to be prepared. Like, if you don't have Chelizi here for it, you can't burn it that quickly. You have to be committing for, you know, Kalista ultimate, for Ike's engaging. They just weren't confident knowing that ADD was going to follow through.
It's an issue as well, considering that, you know, he doesn't have, this top laner doesn't have TP. What does he have? An ulti that speeds everyone up and goes the distance. As he picks up the bottom lane turret as well. And still around the top, look at Vici. They're very adamant about contesting this Baron or starting it up or looking for a pick around it.
But this is the wrong play, unless if you're going to be going straight for it. Most 1-3-1 teams want to be able to you know, push you towards a Baron, but just sticking around a Baron dance. Never going for the all-in, because at this point it allows ADD to get the full push bot side.
Yep.
Allows Kuro to be able to build up his items. Now he's able to get towards his Zonia, so he has his 2 items already. So he's consistently pushing up side lane, and that makes it so members like Puff, who can't be on side lane and has the lead, is starting to fall a little bit into an equal state, where he can't pick up side waves. He has to be mid at all times. He loses out in terms of experience, and now Jinjiao has the time to come back into the game.
Puff is at his 2-item spike right now, and for Jay, he might not be at his spike, but he's still willing to take the 1v1 with Ike's influencing it into 2. Kuro escapes for now. The Dragon Flag out again. Kuro back in. Smoke screen, the turnaround from BLG. They've got the jungler of Vici Gaming. Now Jay has to outplay his ADD coming in and is so darn tanky. The True Shot Barrage helps with that too. The hero's entrance and Puff on the side by himself. The AD carry of Vici free hitting, and they can't get to him. In front is Southwind. Puff nails himself into a corner though. Not good positioning of the AD carry of Vici Gaming. Kuro says see you later again. And although Chelizi gets a Fear Beyond Death, a true blown ace by BLG.
Puff just doesn't do enough damage this early on, and if Jace and Ike's are going to get blown up before the fight even starts, then what front line do you even have? It was just tough for Vici Gaming. They thought they could get a pick on Kuro, but he had perfect execution. He had the ability to hide within his own shroud. It was a huge gambit.
Akali's just such a big threat. Ezreal's a threat. Of course, every single member of that team is out for Puff. And when he dies, so there's part of the legacy of Vici Gaming here in this game too. 8k gold lead, the Baron buff at 24 minutes. And it's getting harder to believe that Vici can turn this into a game 3.
Yeah, because even when they played out what their composition was meant to be played out pretty decently, you got to see some of the drawbacks here where they don't have the damage, because even though you know, Puff is doing well for himself, Jace and Jarvan, or at least no, the Ryze and Jarvan tried to make this play and got blown up.
Yep.
So take a look at this. He gets out here, but he's able to re-enter the fight, and Jarvan's is already gone. So if that's the case, that's your major frontliner. Take a look at Puff and how he kites this one back. So already, ultimate from Southwind is used, and Jay is completely out because he's been bursted down by the Ezreal ultimate, he's gone. And the moment Kuro gets the kill here, he can rejoin and commit to the dive on towards Puff, who's repositioned right next to him.
It comes right back to the point you mentioned earlier on for BLG. Much easier to get these fights, much easier to play this composition out. And that's what's been key in this first 25 minutes of the game. Vici Gaming, when you play something that has a lot of global threat, and when it's not used against BLG earlier on, it becomes a lot harder at this point in the game to pour your way back.
The real way to stop this kind of composition from going forward with the ease of execution later on is to keep them in these lanes. Like Vici Gaming, pick for laning phase. They should have been able to punish them early through either a mid lane gank, top lane, or as you saw, the 2v2s, but my god.
Yeah, Paranoia, see you later again. Puff has just dropped down, and that's the whole fight for Vici Gaming. Kled runs in as well. ADD, you gremlin, what's going on? He'll come in with the charge to the side. Billy, full health once again, and they've just taken down a member.
It hurts, man.
It does.
Puff is getting slammed right now. They're working out well early on, but he's becoming a victim.
He's got a GA now. He's like, this will help. I need to stay alive. But it'll only keep him alive for a little bit longer. BLG knocking on the doors of the base. And Vici have to watch as this goes on. Real rough stuff now.
They can actually commit to a top lane inhibitor as well. They already have the push here. Kled is just holding on to the wave. So let's see if they can draw the line here. Vici Gaming have to do something.
Jinjiao has enough poke. He can get them quite low and maybe start up another fight. ADD is level 16 now. Cataclysm down here for Vici. Trying to turn the fight within their own base, but the poke still massive here as the Hero's Entrance comes back in. ADD survives, but True Shot Barrage hits all of the team. Realm Warp's there as well. Who gets in? Just Chelizi by himself. A mistake from the top laner of Vici Gaming. Wants to go in, but not the right move. Jinjiao again, this AD carry. Fresh blood into the mix, and Meteor even takes down the Galio. This could just end here.
Yeah. Puff has no HP. Come on.
Okay, the Rend. Will it get a stack off? He does get the support. Puff trying to bring the game back, or at least keep it longer lasting, but he can't. Jinjiao still survives. Chelizi there as well, but even ADD's in. Re-engage after re-engage. And Bilibili Gaming, they break the streak of game threes here for Vici. They follow along RNG's footsteps. Cleaner and cleaner is this squad getting. And let me give you a big old cheers from BLG as they sweep through Vici Gaming 2-0.
There you go, man. Not only did they showcase that the team plays there, vision controls there, slower play, sure. We expected that. Individual performance there from Kuro was outstanding.
Yeah.
Comes out with the LeBlanc, then with the Akali, and he put in some numbers. Jay couldn't keep track of him when he was on the side lane. They put in 2 members to be able to deal with him. Not only were BLG members clued in on that, so that turned into the battleground, but he held on to him. He's like, 2v1, I'm fine with that. That was such a strong performance from Kuro, and of course, whenever you see ADD's Kled, you tune in, you get to see if he's able to be able to clue into the map, and I think that ADD on his Kled, I wonder if he gets MVP. I think it's going to still go to Kuro.
Okay.
But he was so strong to be able to get out of the laning phase and set up for these bottom lane dives that we wanted to see.
BLG, they look happy. The work's paying off for them. The start of the split, what were they pitted as? In top 18 potentially?
Yep.
The roster had a couple of star names. When you look at Kuro especially, ADD, a lot of people discounted after his performance on MVP. But here on BLG, he's been getting better and better by the week.
They're referring to the ceiling that BLG had.
Yeah.
Individual ceiling. They look across the map. It's a Jinjiao's had his moments throughout the years, but he's never come out strong, standing tall by the end of the split, by the end of playoff time. They said the same thing for Kuro, even though he's had that veteranship experience, but that also means that they have the history. They could look through the books and say, oh, we looked through Worlds, you didn't get the job done then. Same goes for every time you're in a FLICKR Freaks that a playoff performance didn't work out. But things can change, and it looks like for BLG, it's been getting better and better, and Kuro's been using this as his training ground to get into these strong assassin picks.
Yeah, it's good to see the change in play style. Even the Kled coming out in that second game over to Jinjiao. There's a lot of damage, but I don't even care about the damage. I'm glad that we're talking more about Jinjiao. Hidden behind the veil of LPL ADCs, it feels like, and moving towards playoffs. Maybe he heads up, whatever a veil is.
Yeah, he's looking better. He's looking stronger. He's happier. Yeah. I remember at the beginning of the split, unhappy that the team was changing around him, no longer working with Road, long-standing support. Amazing J had left towards RNG. At that time, he said that he was taking a hiatus. Little did we know. But for Jinjiao, this has been the most successful we've seen him individually. I know I maybe made it to Worlds. They look so strong as a team. But at that point, people were looking more so towards like an Amazing J and how their team fight's been forming out. And I think that this time around it's the same case. But I think Jinjiao has been shining a little bit more earlier on in the game because he's able to fly.
What did we say at the start of the split? He's been working around that anime remake of BLG.
That's true.
For Vici Gaming, still the developmental squad though, and we do have to touch on them because there was still that expectation that they were getting better as a squad, which more or less is still happening, but within the realms of that series there, a bit of a struggle for adaptation.
Remember, everyone's getting better, and that's what the ruse is. Because like Vici Gaming are getting stronger and stronger, that's the case. That's a fact. But not only is the individual talent for the rest of the map capped, but in terms of how they're improving as a squad, I don't see their vision control improving as a team. I don't see necessarily Ike's making the better calls early on in the game. I think the moment you saw their bread and butter moving in towards blue buff get called out, technically they worked there. They got the kill, and you know they were able to net a bigger advantage off that. But that was not, suddenly they couldn't do it again. Like BLG had already been able to push out through mid and bot side again, so it was like no longer can we go and move in towards the blue buff, and that's been their major playbook, the one-page playbook.
Right. It worked against Suning in that game they won.
Fair, but then they didn't win the series.
That's right.
And so like that's the major issue that they have here, is that I think they need a larger playbook, being able to just nail down the fundamentals, while at the same time, if they can't buff up the individual players in Chelizi and Jay, then what they can do is be able to play a style that really is catered to Jay. Now this composition, you can say that was the case. I think the way that they're playing the Jarvan in these instances are like they're more far forward looking. There's not a lot of protection. I would like to see the Tahm Kench a little bit more there for Vici Gaming. So if they can draft a little bit more protection there, like SMLZ gets protection drafted for him. Like at times you can see other people get that protection drafted for themselves. I think that would be a good call for them going forward.
I would love to see old RNG style potentially for Vici Gaming. Keep it simple, play around a player like Puffin and Southwind as well. We'll take a look back because up towards the top fight, that was the kind of groundbreaking moment for BLG to take control. This was another mid lane starter here, Russ.
This is beautiful. This is when you start to look towards Kuro and say, my God, he's getting better and better. Because not only was he able to buy for time, re-engages and gets the execution on towards Ike's. And then look at how he plays the rest of this fight. Because a lot of it had been focusing on how Puff is being able to like kite back ADD. But Jay can't re-enter the fight anymore. Because Kuro's like, alright, well I'm just going to eliminate you. Even flashes, gets the passive proc on him, and then rejoins the fight and finds an AD carry right next to him. So I think Kuro was the reason, the beginning point of this fight and the end point.
Good to see Kuro on Assassins. Like this is such a star mid laner that maybe another good example of a player that could have been drowned out this split by the mid lane talent pool that we still have, rising to the occasion, much like Jinjiao.
Well, like in terms of mid lane talent pool, like keeping it to that discussion, because like remember a few mid laners coming into like Maple was in that discussion as well.
He was.
And like for Maple, it seems like he's sinking a little bit in the huge talents coming through. But for Kuro, I had a lot of faith in Kuro because during the regular season, he had that much strength in the LCK where there was competition at that point. And like if you're going up against FLICKR in those instances, going up against UCal, of course coming to the LPL, you should be able to match up. The only concern that I had was he needs to be able to work with alongside his jungler, and he needs to find like an aggressor essentially. If he can't be that playmaker as he's already showcasing is starting to be, Meteor needs to be that playmaker, and I think that Meteor is already showing that he had those fangs really early on in the split. And then right now you're starting to see Kuro with another face. Really
good jungle games from Meteor. Actually wins MVP instead of Kuro in that game too. That is 4 MVPs for Meteor already.
Double MVP in one series. I gotta say, he's doing real well for himself. I think the Nocturne game was wonderfully done, but I kind of wanted to see the Akali be able to pick it up. Either the Akali or the Kled. Either way, the strategy is what I'm looking at when it comes to the MVP. The strategy of just running you down, and the Nocturne ultimate gets the job done.
From ping pong champion to 4-time MVP.
Yeah,
what is better? Let's be honest.
I give him the MVP because it's related to my work. I can follow that. Like, that's what I know about.
That's very fair. I think one of the youngest junglers in the league at the moment as well. So for Meteor, there's a good level of ceiling that we talked about a little bit before there. BLG, very important win. Next up, Suning, who are not going well. WE then too. If they can win both those series, there's a very real chance that we see them in playoffs.
That's your point, because remember, top 8, there's a lot of strong teams there. And for the teams just outside of it, who are they gunning for? Technically, it's like BLG because they have a harder strength of schedule later on, and they were the team that you're thinking are a little bit weaker if you're comparing like the EDGs looking dominant. The RNGs where you just don't expect that team, right.
Yeah.
So like that's how difficult it is. So it's right now BLG getting better and better, being able to pick up these wins. But now you're saying, okay, which team's going to take down Sino? Is Sino even going to, because currently they look stronger as well.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a real battle for some of these teams. And I think that right now Suning are sweating a little bit.
It's good that the developmental stage they're going up against some of the weaker teams. They'll amp up to RNG and teams like FPX, which is happening on Wednesday. They'll face each other first, of course, and then we'll get to see BLG a little bit later. This is our match of the week, and boy, oh boy, is it going to be, I said before, a doozy.
I love the fact that the supports are getting highlight here. Chris Alistar is great, but you know Ming's been looking back and saying, well, you pick, wait a minute, you think you're going to even get that? That's mine.
Who do you think you are?
Of course. So there's just so many matchups that we can harp on. I think that's the beautiful thing about FPX coming into this, is that before they were even, getting that title as #1 team, we were already giving the respect to the individual players. Like Gimgoon, whoever the mid laner was in the last split, like Cool or Bing, whatever, like they had a great individual talent. The only question was there a connector, and Duanbi is that connector. I'm
excited for that match. I'm just going to say it outright. It's going to be a big one. I'm also excited for the next match with WE and Snake coming up. This one is going to be another fighting game. Of course, this is a MOBA, by the way. But a fighting game coming up, WE versus Snake. Close it up. We'll be right back after this.